to the channel. कैसे हो सब लोग? एकदम बढ़िया ही हो. So वीडियो के टॉपिक से and यहाँ से you must have known that what is the topic we are going to discuss. Yes, it's coordinate geometry. So now this topic is very important for your JEE Mains. I would say that the topics that will be included here are straight lines, circles, and conics. Now, if you had gone through the past papers of JEE, you must have seen that this coordinate geometry unit consists of almost 10 to 15% of the weightage. So, this topic you can understand is very important. Now, the problem is, this is a very elaborate topic. So, now I have come to the rescue and I will be explaining all the nitty-gritties of this chapter in the parts of the video. I have divided into 3 parts and today we will be discussing straight lines. So, students, without further ado, let's quickly jump to the video. So, today's topic is going to be coordinate geometry. So, as you can see, I have already mentioned over here, in your JEE Mains and your advanced, it is the unit 11, coordinate geometry. Now, under this coordinate geometry, we have straight lines, we have circles, and last but not the least, we have the conic sections. In conic sections, again it is further subdivided into ellipse, parabola, and hyperbola. So, in today's video, we will be covering the straight lines. The straight lines, or in our topic it will be pair of straight lines. Now, before starting the topic, we all have learnt in our previous classes what is coordinate geometry. Let's just take a quick review on that particular topic. So, as the name suggests, coordinate. So, why is it called coordinate? Because while representing a particular point in our topic, we will be needing 2 points. Suppose to motivate or to point out a given Cartesian coordinates, we will be requiring 2 ordered pairs of numbers, ordered pair of real numbers or numbers, x and y. Okay. So, whenever I want to locate a particular point, we will be needing 2 ordered pair of numbers x and y, and since this is the combination of 2 points, hence the name coordinate geometry. So, the first topic in this coordinate geometry is our straight lines. So, straight lines. So today's first topic is straight line. So, these are the topics that I am going to cover in this video. The first is how and when is straight line formed. The next is distance between the 2 points, section formula, area of a triangle, slope of a line, and finally pair of straight lines. The straight line concept is divided into 6 major points, and these are the major topics that we are going to cover in a straight line. Out of this pair of straight lines and slope of a line, area of a triangle are the most important topic to be covered for your mains. So, let's begin. So, straight line, how is it formed? Now, for understanding this concept, let us go to the basics once again. We have learned that whenever we have 2 points, let's say P comma xy and Q comma x1 y1, the line or the line segment, something which joins these 2 points, will be a straight line. So, the line segment or the straight line which joins both the points are called your straight lines. Okay. So, as we can see, P xy and Q x1 y1 was my 2 points, and this is the line which is joining these 2 points. Hence, this is a straight line. Our next topic is going to be how do we find out the distance between 2 points of a straight line. For this, let us take a figure or a diagram in our coordinate axis, that is both the x and y axis. Let's say we have P x1 y1 and Q x2 y2. So these are the 2 points. Now we are required to find out the distance between P and Q. For that, let us take or let us draw a straight line. This is my origin, this is my y axis, and this is my x axis. So these are the rectangular coordinates, also known as Cartesian coordinates. Cartesian or rectangular coordinate axis of the points. So now, while drawing the points on this coordinate axis, we can say that this particular length, this one, and we can take the length from the x axis. We can take the length of both P and the point Q, the distance from the x axis. Distance from the x axis. So this distance will be y1 and this distance is y2. That is, the point Px1 y1 is at a distance of y1 and this point Q is at a distance of y2 from the x axis. Now let us join this line, the P and Q line, and let us draw a line that is parallel to the line or the x axis. This line is parallel to the x axis. Now, we can see over here that, let me take this point as R, QR becomes y2 minus y1. The length of QR becomes y2 minus y1. Now, let's take the length of this PR. Now, we know that this length was x1 and this length is x2. So, again, by combining both of them, we get that the length of PR is x2 minus x1. Diagrammatically, you can understand that this is a right angle triangle and hence we can apply the Pythagoras theorem over here. So, using the Pythagoras theorem, what we get over here is, in triangle PQR, we have PQ square is equal to PR square is equal to QR square. Clearly, PQ is the distance of the 2 points. Now, let's put the values. PQ square is equal to PR square, or we can say that x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. So, taking the square root, we get PQ, or the distance between 2 points, as the square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. So, this was the distance between 2 points in a straight line. Whenever we have 2 points given, this is how we are going to find out the distance between those 2 points. Now, let us quickly solve some particular sums on this very topic. So, let us begin with the first sum. Find the distance between P 1 by 3 and Q minus 2.1. So, according to the distance formula, we can say that PQ is equal to x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. So, that gives me x2, which is minus 2 minus 1 whole square plus 1 minus 3 whole square. So, minus 3 whole square plus minus 2 whole square, that is 9 plus 4 root over 13 units. Okay. So, this is the first solution. Now, on to the second one. We have to prove that minus 3, 1, 2, 4 and 0, minus 4 are vertices of a right angle triangle. Now, for solving this, first we have to draw, or rather have an idea that the points lies in which quadrant. So, minus 3, 1 lies in this quadrant. This is minus 3, 1. 2, 4 lies here, 2, 4, and 0, minus 4. So, 0, minus 4. So, this is my triangle. So, we can name that P, Q and R. So, now we will try to find out the distance between the different points. So, first let us find PQ, which is minus 3, minus 2 whole square plus 1 minus 4 whole square. So, minus 5 whole square plus minus 3 whole square, that is 25 plus 9, that is 34 units. Same goes for PR. Now, PR will be, here R is 0, minus 4. So, we can find PR as minus 3 0 square plus 1 plus 4 square. So, that gives me 9 plus 5 square. Again 25 plus 9, that is 34 units. Now, on to the final sides, we have Q and R. Again we have the points, so we can take 2 minus 0 whole square plus 4 whole square, that is 4 plus 8 whole square, that is 4 plus 64, that is 68. Now, to check that whether it is a right angle triangle or not, we need to know that the square, or rather the smaller side, the square of the smaller two sides should be equal to the sum of the third side. So, PQ square plus PR square again gives me 68, which is equal to QR square, and hence the triangle formed by these 3 points is definitely a right angle triangle. Our third question is, PXY is on x axis and 6 units away from the point 1, 4. Now, it is very clearly given that PXY is on the x axis. Now, we know that a coordinate on x axis looks like P x, 0, that is the y coordinate is always 0. Now, the other point given over here is 1, 4. Let me take that as Q, and it is said that PQ is equal to 6 units. So, x minus 1 whole square, 0 minus 4 whole square is equal to 6 units. Okay. So, that will be equal to 6. That implies x minus 1 whole square plus 16 is equal to 6. On squaring both sides, I get plus 16 is equal to 36. So, x minus 1 whole square is equal to 20. So, on further solving, we will get x square minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 20, which gives me x square minus 2x minus 19 equal to 0. So, clearly we have to use the Sridhari-Acharya's formula for finding the x. So, x is equal to minus b plus minus b square minus 4 into a into c. C is a negative sign, so into 2 into a. So, by solving this we get 4 plus 76 by 2, which gives me 2 plus root over 80 by 2. On further solving we get 2 plus 2 root 20 by 2. So, plus minus, this will be plus minus all of them. So, 1 plus minus root over 20. So, this is my point x, and y, as you can see, it's already given that it's on the y axis, so it will be 0. So, these are my x and this is my y coordinate. Now, this is how we find the distance between any given two points. So, let us move to the next topic of this chapter, that is the section formula. So, let us begin the section formula. So, for this again I have taken the two coordinates over here and I will be taking the 2 points, that is P and Q. So, P x1 comma y1 and Q x2 comma y2. These are the 2 points. So, let me join these 2 points over here. And now, what is section of a line? We can take that R is a point, let us say R is x comma y. This is a point on the line PQ which divides the line into 2 portions, or we can say it divides into 2 ratios, which is m and n. The ratios I am saying m is to n. So, using the section formula, I can find out the coordinates of the point r comma xy, that is responsible for dividing the line into 2 parts x and y, m and n. Now, how do we get the section formula is what we are going to discuss next. Now, again, previously we have known that the distance of this point from x axis is x1 and this distance is x2. So, if I draw a triangle just like before and name it as T, and I also join this point and name it as S, we have 2 triangles over here. So, let us quickly find out the lengths of the each side of triangle PRS and PQT. So, the first is the side, this one. Okay. So, we have to find out the length or the side length of QT. So, QT is, we can say that x2 minus x1, or rather we can say, if I have to take it, this is x, this length is x, this length is x2, this length is x. So, we can write it is x2 minus x. Okay. Now, The next is this length. Sorry, this will be x2 minus x1, while this length will be x minus x1, because as you can see the x1 is the smallest known length over here, and this r has a distance of x from the x axis. Now similarly here the length p is, and we can find the length of pt. Okay, so pt will be y2 minus y1, whereas it will be y minus y1 in this case. Now if I take these two triangles PRS and PQT, I can very clearly see that this angle is common in both, and these are the right angle triangles. So we can say that PRS is actually similar to PRT. Okay, PRS is similar to PRT. So using the BPT theorem or basic proportionality theorem, again a very important thing to know, that the section formula is obtained by the basic proportionality theorem. We can say that x minus x1 divided by x2 minus x1 is equal to m divided by m plus n. On further solving, what we get? We get m plus n x minus x1 equal to m x2 minus x1. Solving this, we will get x equal to mx2 plus nx1 divided by m plus n. On the same note, similarly, we can find y is equal to my2 plus ny1 divided by m plus n, and that concludes our section formula. So section formula x comma y is mx2 plus nx1 divided by m plus n, and my2 plus ny1 divided by m plus n. Okay, so let us quickly do some sums relating to this sum, but before that, another important, very important, or a specialized case of this section theorem is the midpoint theorem, where rather m is to n is actually 1 is to 1. This is a specialized case of section formula known as midpoint theorem, where the ratio is always 1 is to 1. So the sum that we are going to do over here is find the ratio by which the line joining minus 2 comma 2 and 4 comma 5 is cut by the y axis. So before starting, let us draw the figure quickly. See, always diagram is important. So let us point the two coordinates over here. So p, I can see that it is minus 2 comma 2, sorry, this will be the p minus 2 comma 2, and 4 comma 5 will be somewhere around here, q equal to 4 comma 5, and it is asked that how does the y axis, that is this particular point, let us say it is r, is dividing the line in which ratio. Okay. Now we know since r is lying on the y axis, its coordinate will always look something like this, 0 comma y, and let us take that, let the ratio be k is to 1. Instead of m is to n, we are taking it as k is to 1, where m is k and n is 1. So in the same manner, what we can write, p or r comma 0 y will be equal to k x2, let me consider x2 as 4, plus n x1 by k plus 1, comma, now let us put the y axis, so k into, so this will be not minus, this will be not 5, this will be rather minus 2, this will be minus 2, okay. So ky2 plus nx1, that is 2. Okay, so this should be equal to 0 comma y. So what I can write from here, 4k minus 2 by k plus 1 is equal to 0. So 4k minus 2 is equal to 0. So k equal to 2 by 4, that is 1 by 2. So k is to 1 represents 1 by 2 is to 1 or 1 is to 2. So this is the ratio with which the line joining minus 2 comma 2 and 4 comma 5 is cut by the y axis. Again, if the same sum is given in a manner where you have been cut by x axis, instead of 0 comma y, we will take x comma 0 and proceed in the same manner. Okay. Next topic is area of a triangle. Suppose 3 points are given, a1 comma b1, a2 comma b2, a3 comma b3. So these are the 3 points which are the 3 coordinates of a given. Now we want to see that whether these particular points are forming a triangle or not. So in that case, what we are supposed to do, or how we will know that whether this area is, whether this point forms a triangle, and if yes, then what will be the area of that triangle. Now for finding the area of the triangle, we have a very important as well as a very easy formula that will require us the knowledge of determinants. So first of all, let us arrange and write how we were going to write. So a1, a2, a3, b1, b2, b3 and 1 comma 1 comma 1. So this is the area of a triangle. Now let us expand this. So we will first expand using the first column. So another important thing which requires the knowledge over here for determinant, we will take the first column as plus, minus and plus. So a1, we will leave the row and column of a1, we will leave this, and hence we are left with b1, b2 minus b3. Then I am moving to the minus sign, b1, I leave the column and row of b1, I am left with a2, a3 and 1 comma 1, and it will give me a2 minus a3. Finally, I have 1, I will remove this and I have a2 b3 minus b2 a3. Rearranging, we get a1 b2 minus a1 b3 minus b1 a2 plus a3 b1 plus a2 b3 minus b2 a3. So this is the area of the triangle. This is how we are going to find the area of the triangle. We are going to arrange the 3 coordinates in this following manner and we are going to calculate. Okay. So before this, we have a half actually. We have half of this. So half of this, half of the determinant that we have just found out. Now there is another concept for the area of the triangle, that is called the collinearity. Now what is collinearity? Collinearity means there are 3 points but they are lying on the same straight line. So obviously if the lines or the points are collinear, definitely it is not going to form an area. So in that case, this area will be equal to 0. Area of the triangle will become equal to 0. And another thing, please always remember that since we are calculating area, this will always be a positive value. This has to be a positive value. If it is coming as negative, it just means it is drawn on the other coordinate or the other axis, but the value we are going to take the mod value. Area is always going to be positive. Okay. So here we conclude the first part of the chapter with the area of the triangle, section formula and the distance formula. Next we are going to discuss the slope and intercept formula, as well as we are going to discuss the important sums on your pair of intersecting lines.
So,
Now we will be discussing the slope of a line. Now we have the formula of the slope of a line as slope is equal to tan theta. But what exactly is this slope? So suppose in a coordinate axis, I draw a line, straight line, which is inclined with the x-axis at an angle theta. So this inclination of the straight line is called the slope. But how do we get tan theta and what is the exact formula of this slope is what we are going to learn now. Suppose I take 2 points P and Q, P x1, y1 and Q x2, y2. So these are the 2 points on this straight line. Now let's draw a right angle triangle with these 2 points. So if I draw a line parallel to this x-axis and name the point of intersection as R, so PQR becomes a right angle triangle. Right angled triangle. Now one thing to notice over here is as I had drawn this line to be parallel to the x-axis and since the inclination of this line is theta with respect to the x-axis, it will also be theta here as parallel lines make equal angles. So in the right angle triangle PQR, the angle is theta. Now we can say that tan theta is equal to the base perpendicular by base. By definition of tan theta, we have perpendicular by base. Now in the triangle PQR, which is the perpendicular and which is the base. Now we know that with respect to theta, my perpendicular is QR, whereas my base is PR. Now, I also know that this point is x2, y2 and this point is x1, y1. So, I can say just like previously, I can say that this length is actually y2 minus y1 and this length is x2 minus x1. So, by the definition of this, we can write y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. And this is the formula for slope of a line. Of any given line, the formula for the slope is this. Now, let's do a quick sum with this formula in hand. So, this is the sum we have in our hand. Find the slope of the line joining the points 2, 3 and 4, 9. So, let us take x1, y1 to be 2, 3 and x2, y2 to be 4, 9. So, slope of the line according to the formula is y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1, which means 9 by 3 divided by 4 minus 2. So 6 by 2, cancel it out. So we have the slope 3. So this is the slope of the line. And these are very pretty simple. Any given points in the line when it is given, all you have to do is recognize the 2 points given and find out using the formula. Now, if suppose it's not given, the points are not given, but an angle is given, so then also you know slope is equal to tan of the angle of inclination, where theta is the angle of inclination. Now here, one more thing I'd like to say here is slope is represented by or annotated by the letter M. It's generally defined with the letter m. So m is equal to slope is equal to tan theta. Now if I go back to the formula that we had discussed above, we have some things to note over here. Now, as I said that the theta is the angle of inclination, the angle which this straight line PQ is making with the x-axis. So, what if this theta is equal to 0? That is, theta is equal to 0. So, in that case, if theta is equal to 0, the line will actually be parallel to x-axis. And slope of the line PQ then will be 0. So whenever theta is equal to 0, line is parallel to the x-axis and hence the slope of the line PQ is also 0, because if theta is equal to 0, tan theta automatically becomes 0 and hence the slope of the line is also equal to 0. Now what if the angle is 90 degree, that is theta over here is 90 degree. Now if theta is equal to 90 degree, the line becomes parallel to y-axis and the slope of line PQ is then undefined. But why is it undefined? We still have the angle theta, but why does the angle over here, when it is 90 degree, why does the slope becomes undefined? Now, as by the definition of slope is equal to tan theta, we know that if theta is the angle of inclination, slope will be equal to tan theta. Now, we know that tan 90 degree is undefined, and hence slope will also be undefined. So geometrically, if I have to show this concept over the diagram, then how does these two conditions look in general? So let's draw the geometrical interpretation of these two cases. Now previously, as I was discussing, our general, whenever the angle theta is the angle of inclination, our general diagram is like this. So this line is PQ, which is inclined at an angle theta. But what happens when the angle is 0 degree? So then the straight line actually looks like this. So it is not inclined with the x-axis, or it is not having any inclination with the x-axis. So that is why theta is equal to 0. And when the line is PQ is parallel to the y-axis, it looks like this. Again, the angle it is making with the slope or the x-axis is 90 degree and hence tan theta becomes undefined. So these are the two important cases that we have to remember for the purpose of our numericals. Now we have another two concepts over here, that is when two given lines are inclined but two lines are parallel, which means suppose I am taking the diagram like this. I am taking the coordinate axis like this and I am drawing two lines. Now how is it different from the previous one? In the previous case, I was taking just a single line and that line was parallel to the x-axis. But over here, we will be taking two lines, let's say PQ, and let's say I'm taking another line, let's say RS. Now over here, line 1 and line 2 are parallel to each other. Okay. Now both are parallel to each other, which means both should be making the same angle. So here if PQ, that is the line 1, is making theta 1 with the x-axis over here. Now I can draw a line parallel to the x-axis by removing the origin over here, and this line will again become parallel to x-axis. So, by the corresponding angle, we will have this angle also as theta 1. So, the condition of perpendicularity of two lines, the condition of parallelism of two lines is theta 1 by theta is equal to, both the angles are equal, so theta 1 is equal to, if I take this angle to be theta 2, then I can say that theta 1 will have to be equal to theta 2, which implies further that tan theta 1 will have to be equal to tan theta 2, which implies m1 is equal to m2, where m1 and m2 are the slope of the line 1 and line 2. So, by that we conclude that if L1 is parallel to L2, then double implication M1 is equal to M2. This double implication implies that if M1 and M2 are equal, then the line has to be parallel, or vice versa. That is, if two lines are parallel, their slopes has to be parallel. Their slope has to be same. So this was the condition of parallelism. Now next we will do the condition of perpendicularity. Again, another important concept, condition of parallelism and condition of perpendicularity. See, these are very easy topics if you understand the concept behind it, but we tend to forget the nitty-gritties of the topic while doing our numericals. So remember, parallelism is when M1 will be M2. Now another important thing, again I am repeating the same. This is in case when I am considering two or more lines. The previous one, as I had explained, it was only a single line and it was actually parallel to x-axis. Over here, the diagram, if you can see, it's not parallel to the x-axis. Both are having an inclination with the x-axis, but respectively, the line 1 and line 2 are in parallel with each other. So next is condition of perpendicularity. So obviously, as previous one, here I have to see when the lines are perpendicular to each other, how does the slope depend? So let's draw the diagram again. So over here I am taking the axis over here, and remember that over here, let's say one of the line is like this and another line over here is in this direction. So if I draw a line parallel to both of them, a line parallel to the x-axis in this point, now I get two things. The first one is I can take that this angle is theta 2 and this whole angle is theta 1. Now this particular angle over here is 90 degree. Now there are some relations we are getting from this diagram, right? So these are the straight lines. Let's say L1 and L2 are the lines. L1 and L2. Now what are the relations we are getting right now? So I can say that theta 1 is actually equal to 90 degree plus theta 2. Right? So over here I can also say that tan theta 1 is actually equal to tan of 90 degree plus theta 2. Now tan 90 degree plus theta 2, it means that it's going in the second quadrant. Now 90 plus theta will be cot theta 2, and since it's in the second quadrant, we have a minus sign over here. So minus cot theta 2. So now this I can straight away write m1. Since I am considering the slope of the line 1 as m1, I can write here m1. But I cannot write here m2 because my slope is defined with angle theta of the tan theta. Right now I am dealing with the cot. So I have to convert it into its reciprocal, that is I have to convert it into tan theta 2. So on that we get m2. So we get the relation, a very important one, that is m1 is equal to minus of 1 by m2. So m1, m2 is equal to minus of 1. This is the condition of perpendicularity for any given lines. Whenever two lines are perpendicular to each other, this is the condition they are going to hold. Now let's quickly jump to a sum and see how do we apply this in our numericals and how can we understand that whether two lines given are perpendicular or they are parallel. So this is our numerical over here. Show that the lines joining 2, minus 3 and 5, 1, minus 1 is parallel to this given line and perpendicular to this given line. Now first and foremost, we have to find the slope of each of these individual lines. Now by the definition of the slope, as we have learned before, slope of any line is given by y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. So let me consider this as the line 1, this as the line 2 and this as the line 3 for our better understanding. So first and foremost, let's find the slope of the line 1. Slope of line 1. So here y2 minus y1. So I am considering this to be my x2 y2. So minus 1 minus of minus 3 and x2, sorry, it become a triangle. So minus 1 minus of minus 3, 5 minus 2. So minus 3. So this is giving me 2 by 3 as the slope of the line. Now next thing, let's find the slope of L2, that is the line number 2. So here again 3 minus 1 and so this is the numerical that we are going to solve now. So there are 3 different lines. So the original line is this one. Let me take that as L1. And this line over here is L2 and this line over here I am taking it as L3. Now what we want to show over here is that the line joining these points, the first L1 is parallel to the L2 and it is perpendicular to L3. Now for that, the first and foremost thing we have to do is find the slope of the individual lines. Okay. So as you remember, what was the formula of the slope of any individual line? When the points are given, it is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay. So let us quickly find out individually what are the slope of the line. So for L1, the slope is, so I'm taking this point as x2, y2. You can take any, just remember the orientation as we had discussed before. Just remember the orientation you are considering, which one you are considering as x2, which one you are considering as y2. Just keep that as same. So slope is minus 1 minus 3 divided by 5 minus of minus 2. So that gives me minus 4 by 7. Now let us find L2. So slope is again, we have 3 minus of minus 1 and 0 minus 7. So it gives me minus 4 by 7. Let's do that for L3. Minus 2 minus 5, 0 minus 4. So that gives me minus 7 by minus 4, which is 7 by 4. Now let us recollect what was the condition of perpendicularity and parallelism. So for parallel lines, we had M1 equal to M2, and for perpendicular lines, we had M1, M2 equal to minus of 1. So let us quickly see whether this condition holds or not. So L1 and L2 are giving me the same slope, so definitely they are parallel to each other. So our first condition is very much true. Now for the second one, that is the line joining 4, 5 and 0, 2. So over here I can see that slope of L1 was minus 4 by 7 and that of L3 is 7 by 4. So with that, let's calculate the condition. Do we get 1? Yes, we do get minus of 1. So again the same thing, it is perpendicular to the line given. So we have learnt by far the three main things, that is the slope of the line, okay, and how can we define the angles, what is the angle, how can we define the relation between tan theta and the coordinate axis, and the conditions of perpendicularity and the parallelism. So now we will move to the topic angle between two lines. Now we will be discussing the angle between the two lines. So over here again I have taken two lines which are L1 and L2. So students, don't get confused with all these angles that are coming in between. I am explaining each one of them, and I am also saying that what exactly and how can you differ, how can you understand the concept in between. So previously what we did, okay, that was just the two things, that is if it is parallel to each other and if it is perpendicular to each other. But we do have angles in between as well, right? It's not 0 and 90 degree always. Okay, it's not that simple always. But what we will do, or what process should we apply, or what formula is there when the angle other than. Now we will be discussing over here how can we see that the angle of two lines and how do you measure it when we have two lines which are not inclined to each other at angle 0, that is parallel, or 90 degree. So here I have taken two lines L1 and L2, each of which is inclined at an angle of theta 1 and theta 2 respectively. So over here if I draw a line parallel to x-axis, I can actually reduce this angle to a specific region and still get the same thing. So since this line is parallel to x-axis, so we will have this angle to be theta 1 and this whole angle to be theta 2. Now what is my concept? Angle between two lines. So the angle between two lines is this portion. Let me shade that for clear understanding. This is the angle we are interested in. That is the angle theta. So can we not say that theta is equal to, so theta is actually, we get it as theta 2 minus theta 1. Now tan theta is equal to, I can take tan theta 2 minus theta 1. Now by the definition of trigonometry, we have tan theta 2 minus tan theta 1 as tan theta 2 minus tan theta 1 plus 1 plus tan theta 1 tan theta 2. Okay. So this is by the definition of trigonometry that we have learned. So here, as we all know, tan theta 1 was the slope of the first line and we can take it as m1, and tan theta 2 is m2. So if I put these values over here, what do I get? Tan theta, that is the angle between these two lines, is equal to the value of m2 minus m1, 1 plus m1, m2. Now a very important thing to note over here is, this is the condition, or this is when the angle between this line 1 and line 2 is acute. But it is also possible that the angle between these two angles or the lines will be obtuse. So when we have an obtuse angle, the line between the two lines are obtuse, we have a negative sign, and when it is an acute, we have a positive sign. So this is for the obtuse angle between the lines, and this is for the acute angle between the lines. So if I combine these two, tan theta is m2 minus m1 divided by 1 plus m1 m2, the mod of the angle. This is the angle between the two lines. Again, a very important concept for our mains and advanced. Angle between the two lines. So let us quickly do a numerical on this particular sum, a particular theory, and understand that how in general we apply this formula. So let's begin. So these are the two sums or the numericals that we are going to solve right now. So find the angle between the lines whose slopes are minus 7 by 3 and 5 by 2. So both the slopes are given to me. M1 is minus 7 by 3 and M2 I can take 5 by 2. So by definition of the angle, we have tan theta is equal to M2 minus of M1 divided by 1 plus M1 M2. Now don't be nervous when you get a negative sign or positive sign. Basically, if we have a negative sign, it means that the angle was an acute angle, and if we have a negative sign, it basically means the angle between the two lines are the obtuse angles. So 3 by 2 minus of 7 by 3, 1 plus minus 7 by 3 into 5 by 2. On simplifying, we get 3 by 2 plus 7 by 3, 1, this is minus, so 35 by 6. 6, 9 plus 14 and 6 minus 35 by 6. It's very clear at this point that we are going to get a negative sign, all of which means that the angle between these two lines is not an acute one but an obtuse one. So this is 23 by 6 and 36 minus 35. On cancelling it out, we get minus of 23 by 29. So this is the angle between the two lines whose slopes are given here as minus 7 by 3 and 5, 2. So the second question, if the angle between two lines is pi by 4 and the slope of one line is 1 by 2, find the slope of the other. So basically here the theta is given, that is the angle between the two lines, which is pi by 4, and one of the slopes, let's say it is half, is given. M1 is half. So we have to find here M2. So by formula, tan theta is equal to M2 minus M1 by M1 M2, 1 plus M1 M2. So tan of 5 by 4, M2 we don't know, so let us just keep it as M2, 1 plus M1 into M2. So tan pi by 4, as we know, it's 1. On simplifying, we get 2m2 minus 1 by 2 plus m2. So this will give me a linear equation in m2 and we need to solve it. So by cross multiplying, we get 2 plus m2 by 2m2 minus of 1. Okay. So if I take the m2 over there, so 3 is equal to m2. So that means the slope of the line is 3. And there is the sum we have. So for today, itna hi. Let's meet in the next video where we will be discussing further about this topic. Till then, if you like this videos, like, share and subscribe and follow our channel. So